Hello, my name's Elaine of Go Far Consulting, and today I'm going to talk to you about a squirrel that fell down my chimney. Yes, it fell absolutely down into my chimney. Poof! Big ball of soot in my chimney. And I'm going to explain to you what that is with regard to business and proactive versus reactive situations. It's not every day that we have a falling squirrel come down the chimney, yet we do have lots of things where this is an analogy for that situation. We normally call them red flags, or situations where we're dealing with emergencies and having to react to them all the time. So I want you to think right now, in your business, where do you react on a regular basis? Where are you at somebody else's beck and call all the time? Because I'm going to share a little bit more about that at the end of this video. However, I do want to tell you the story about the squirrel and what happened and how this all came about for me. Well, the squirrel fell down the chimney, and it was one of those days where my son came home and he's going, Mum, there's a squirrel in the chimney. And I'm going, oh no, it's at the top of the chimney and it's just echoing down. But sure it was, there we were. As we looked, we could see the squirrel the other side of the screen of the fire guard there. And so I had to figure out a way to get the squirrel out, because otherwise it's going to be running around my house everywhere, and I didn't want that to happen. So I thought I'd get clever, and I sat down and I thought about it, and I thought, aha, I will set a little trap for it, and I'll get out a box and I'll put some peanuts in there and I'll cover it all up so that the squirrel doesn't get out. I called up a local rescue centre to see if they had any suggestions, and their one suggestion was, just don't let the squirrel get out of your house, it'll run everywhere. Well, you can imagine what happened. The squirrel got out of the box and it ran across the room, and there's me chasing after the squirrel, and the squirrel hit the window. And poof, there was this big splatter of soot all across the window. He then shot up the curtain rail, ran across, and he sat there at the top, chittering away at me. You know how they go, that's how a squirrel goes, right? Or close to that anyway. Well, to cut a long story short, it took me 2.5 hours of racing around the house to get this squirrel out. My recommendation is, if you ever have a squirrel in your chimney and it falls into your house somehow, close the curtains first and open the doors wide. So the moral of the story is, after that I was absolutely exhausted, covered in soot, and wondering what to do next. Now, I could have then continued my day in that same fashion, running around chasing the first thing that came into my head, but I didn't. I sat down, I got a piece of paper and a glass of water, and I looked to see what the time was for a start, and then looked to see how can I now sit down and plan the rest of my day. There's so many things to do. How can I cover everything? I'd already missed certain things that I was doing. So I sat there and I worked it out. And then I prioritized. So make a list when you're in a situation like that, not with a squirrel, but in a reactionary state. Write out a list of different things that you need to do, and then address them in order of priority. So that was one of the things that I did. That then gave me a place of now being proactive about where I was. Many businesses have reactionary situations, and I've worked with many clients in these areas. Some of those times are life-threatening, and so you have to have a certain amount of time where you are in reactionary mode. Now here's something else to think about, another little twist to the squirrel story. Your falling squirrel could be your dream client. Oh, think about that one. Where's that going to come? Is it going to land in your hands? Do you know what your dream client is? Are you prepared for it? So there's lots of things around falling squirrels that I would love to share with you. If you would like to receive the 7 tips to stay in control and think about what those squirrels might be for you, please go to my website and look for the free download. They'll be ready for you to get, okay? So join me on my website where you can find the 7 tips to stay in control and beware of your falling squirrels.